Good morning, Year 5 team. Today we're going to have a quick look at the FA Cup reading comprehension task that you've been set on Class Dojo. The deadline for this task is Wednesday the 22nd of April, meaning you've got 3 days to complete this reading comprehension. So you've been sent the link to the Google Forms website on Class Dojo. The first thing you need to do is enter your full name, first name and last name in this box, and then click on this link, which will take you to a website by the Football Association and will give you the history of the FA Cup. Now, you may choose not to read that, that's absolutely fine, but it might just give you some understanding of what the text is about. When you've done that, your next task is to read the text. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to read through the text and I am going to explain some of the words that you may not understand. The Football Association Challenge, the Cup Final. Cup Final facts. The match day is widely known as just the Cup Final. It is the last match in the Football Association FA Challenge Cup. From 2015 to 2018, it was also known as the Emirates FA Cup. The first televised final in 1937 had about 10,000 viewers. Today's final has about 88,600 stadium spectators and over 10 million TV viewers tune into the BBC Sport channel. 875 million viewers watched the 2016 final worldwide. A women's tournament is held at the same time, the FA Women's Cup. The FA Trophy, the Winners' Cup, is only on loan to the winning side. It is the oldest cup competition in the world, first played in 1871 to the 1872 season. The 2016 champions are Manchester United. Okay, so now we've had a look at this text box here, this fact box. I'm going to explain some of the key words to you. So, first thing I want us to look at is the word association. An association is a group of people. Okay, so go to Google. A group of people organised for a joint purpose. The FA Cup, the Football Association, is the group of people who are organised to manage football around the world. Okay. Televised. Televised means something that's been shown on television. So it says that it was first shown on television in 1937. However, you can see down here that the first ever competition was played in 1871 to 1872. That means it had been on the TV, it had been played for about 60 years before it was even shown on the television. Okay? Now, a spectator. A spectator is somebody who watches. So a stadium spectator is somebody who watches in the stadium. A TV viewer is someone who spectates, but from home or somewhere where they can watch it on TV. A tournament is a type of competition where people get knocked out. And by this word loan, it means it was borrowed to them. So the FA Trophy, the Winners' Cup, is only on loan. So that means that the winners don't get to keep it. When their season with it is up, they have to give it back. So the name is engraved on it, but they don't get to keep it. They're just borrowing it for the year. Okay, let's carry on reading. So it says, who can enter? The Challenge Cup competition is open to any club in the top 10 levels of the English Football League. Once clubs have registered to play, the tournament is organised into 12 randomly drawn rounds, followed by the semi-finals and finals. The higher ranked teams join the competition in round 3. So, any club can register, but they have to be in the top 10 levels of the English Football League. It says here that they have to register to play. That means they need to sign up. They need to say that they want to play. Here it says it's randomly drawn. So that means people don't choose it. They might use something like a raffle or a lottery where it's left up to chance. A semi-final is a final that comes before the last match. So you would have then 4 teams, 2 teams competing against each other, then another 2 teams, and they will go on to the final, the last round. Yeah. So here we've got a table with information, an information table. So the subheading tells us clubs entering the FA Cup. 1871 to 72, there was only 15 clubs. 1921 to 22, 656 clubs joined. 2004 to 2005, 660 clubs. 2006 to 2007, 687. 2007 to 2008, 731. 2014 to 2015, 736. You can see between these years here there's a massive jump. More than 600 clubs join up in this time, but there is quite a big gap of time here. Here it continues to go up, but by a little bit each year, by 10 or 20 each year. Okay, let's look at the next subheading. It says, where are the matches held? Okay. The first 12 round matches will usually be played at the home ground of one of the 2 teams. From 1923 to 2000, the old Wembley Stadium hosted the finals. The only exception was in 1970, when the replay between Leeds and Chelsea was held at Old Trafford, Manchester. Between 2001 and 2006, whilst Wembley Stadium was being built, the final was held at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff. The final match has been played at the rebuilt Wembley Stadium since 2007, and the semi-final and final matches have been played there since 2008. Okay, so here it says it's usually played in Wembley Stadium, which is a really famous football stadium. It says the only exception. An exception is something that breaks the rule. So it's usually held in Wembley Stadium, but there was one time that they broke that rule in 1970, and one of the matches was held in Manchester, believe it or not. They also broke that rule between 2001 and 2006 when Wembley Stadium was being rebuilt, and they held it in the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff. Now, if you don't know, Cardiff is the capital city in Wales. Okay. Let's look at the next subheading. It says, what do the winners receive? So we're going to find out about the prizes in this paragraph. The winners of the final match receive the Football Association Cup, the FA Cup. It comes in 3 parts. The base, that means the bottom. The cup, this bit in the middle, and the lid. Over the years, there have been 2 designs of trophy and 5 cups have been made. The first cup, known as the Little Tin Idol, was stolen in 1895 and never returned. In 1958, a criminal by the name of Henry James Burge claimed to have carried out the robbery, but the police reports did not match his account of events and the case was closed. The FA fined Aston Villa £25 to pay for a replacement, as it was stolen whilst they had it in their care. An exact replica was made, and it was used until 1910. In 2005, this version was sold at auction and made £42,000. It was bought by David Gold, chairman of Birmingham City, and presented to the National Football Museum for public display. From 1911, a new design was made. It was larger than the previous trophy, standing 61.5 centimetres high. So before I carry on reading, I'm just going to go back and look at some of these keywords. So, an idol is a statue of some type. So, the first cup was known as the Little Tin Idol. It means the little tin statue. An idol is usually something that we think of being very important or something that's worshipped. So it shows how important the FA Cup is to football fans. Now, it says that Henry James Burge claimed to have carried out the robbery. That means he said he did it. But the police didn't think that his story matched up with what happened. Now, someone might wonder, why would he lie and say he was a thief when he wasn't? But it would maybe make him quite famous if he was proved to have. If people believed that he'd stolen it, so he might have done it for exposure or to make his name famous, even though he never did it. The FA fined Aston Villa. So Aston Villa is a team. The Football Association fined them. That means they made them pay £25 to pay for a replacement as it was stolen whilst they had it in their care. An exact replica. This means a copy was made. In 2005, this version was sold at auction. So an auction is where they sell items, but they don't have a set price, and people have got to bid on it. So you can say a price, and if someone else is willing to pay more, they can outbid you, and you can outbid them, and it keeps going until they get to the highest price, and then the person who has put in the highest bid has to buy it for that price. It was bought by David Gold, the chairman of Birmingham City. So the chairman is somebody who runs the club. He's almost like the boss. So, in 1992, another copy was made as the cup was wearing out from being handled, and another replacement was made in 2014. This took over 250 hours to make and weighs 6.3 kilograms of solid silver. So here it says that another copy was made as the cup was wearing out. It just means it was starting to look old and tattered. The cup is presented at the end of the match, giving the engraver just 5 minutes to engrave the winning team on the silver band on the base. So here it mentions an engraver. An engraver is somebody who uses a special tool and they can scratch into metal. Now, they won't just do random scratches, they would scratch in the name of the winning team. So, because it's at the very end of the match, the person who has those special tools and knows how to do engraving will have 5 minutes to basically scratch the winning team into the silver band at the base of the cup, at the bottom of the cup. The cup has ribbons from both teams decorating it during the final. The loser's ribbon is removed before the presentation. Each cup in the final match is given 30 winners or runners-up medals. These are given to players, staff and officials. In 1914, Burnley won the cup and received medals struck in error as English Cup winners. So, here we have an information box with fantastic final facts. It says the most wins. Arsenal and Manchester United are the teams that have won the most, and they have 12 wins each. Most appearances in a final. Arsenal, 20. Arsenal have appeared in a final match 20 times. If they've won 12 times, that means they've only lost 8 of those matches. The number of spectators at the first final. 2,000 people were at the first ever final at Kennington Oval in 1872. The most defeats in a final were Everton, who've lost 8 times. The biggest winning margin. So biggest winning margin means the biggest gap is between Bury and Derby County. And the winning margin was 6 goals because Bury had 6 and Derby County had 0. So there's a difference of 6. The most goals in a final, 7 goals, Blackburn Rovers versus Sheffield. which was 6-1, and Blackpool versus the Bolton Wanderers 4-3. So you can see in those matches there were 7 goals in each of them. The most appearances without losing are the Wanderers. The most appearances without winning are Leicester City, who had 4. The youngest FA Cup finalist ever is Curtin Weston of Millwall, who was 17 years old at the time and 119 days. The oldest FA Cup finalist was Billy Hampson of Newcastle United, who was 41 years old and 257 days. The most individual wins for a player was Ashley Cole. The most individual appearances for a player is Arthur Kinnaird with 9. The cost of the old Wembley stadium was £750,000 now. The new one is over £750 million. You can see there that they've added 3 zeros on. It went up by 100 times. Did you know the first winners of the Cup in 1872 were Wanderers, who also won it the following year? By following year, it means the year after. The Challenge Cup was suspended in 1915 to 1919 because of the First World War. Suspended means it was put off. So they stopped playing it for a while. They didn't have the Challenge Cup and they rearranged it for a later date because the First World War was happening. In 1923, the final was played at the newly opened Wembley Stadium. The Challenge Cup was suspended again between 1939 and 1945 because of the Second World War. Since the creation of the Football League, Tottenham Hotspur is the only non-league club to win the cup against league runners-up Sheffield United in 1901. 4 FA finals have finished goalless. So by goalless it means in 4 FA Cup finals there have been no goals scored. In 1971, Alvechurch and Oxford City had to play 6 games to eventually produce a winner. The first 5 being drawn matches, an amazing 11 hours of football. So the first 5 times these teams played, they come to a draw. So they had to keep playing until one of the teams won. The FA Cup has only been won by a non-English team once, by Cardiff City in 1927. In the same season they won the Welsh Cup. So usually an English team will win the FA Cup, but once a Welsh team did. Remember that Wales is a part of Great Britain. That is the end of that. So now your next task is to answer the following questions. When you have done that, you click submit, and you must send me a message on Class Dojo or Miss Mitchell a message on Class Dojo to tell us when you've finished it so we can send you your dojos. Thank you very much and good luck with your reading comprehension. Bye bye.